I find out that this guy is a criminal. I've done a background search on him. And in Chicago, he had 5 warrants out for his arrest. One of them was for shooting at police officers.
Oh, God.
Which was a felony with a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
And they were all kinds of warrants out for him. For theft, for burglary. I know theft and burglary up in Chicago, they considered it 2 different things at the time. And for attempted murder on a police officer and everything. So you would think that the Fulton County would want to arrest him.
And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator from Atlanta, Georgia. And he's going to regale us with another story today. I kind of got a little hint that it's going to be another harsh one, Lynn. Tell us what we're going to hear today.
Well, Vinnie, this was back, it's been several years ago, been a long time ago. This was a husband and wife that lived in Chicago. It started in Chicago. The woman left Chicago with her child. She was going through a divorce up there, and the husband would not pay child support. And the wife took him to court, and the judge said, well, give blood. And he said, no, I'm not giving blood. And the judge said, well,
why did the judge want him to give blood?
Because he said it wasn't his child.
Oh.
He said, that's not my child. I'm not giving blood. It's not my child. I'm not paying child support.
Oh, okay.
The judge said, well, give blood. And he said, no. And he said, well, then you're paying child support because it's your child.
Yeah.
So the guy wouldn't leave her alone, and his family wouldn't leave her alone. I mean, this guy just beat the hell out of this girl on a regular basis. So she packed up and left Chicago. Nobody knew where she went. Up there, she left. She had a grandmother that nobody that he didn't know about here in Atlanta. So she came to Atlanta and she lived in East Point. And she lived in an apartment complex out there that was not the best apartment complex in the world. It was right off 285. And they had a swimming pool that had been condemned, and the county had ordered it to be closed and filled in. Well, they didn't. Well, in February of that year, the little boy, who was 8 years old, fell in the swimming pool.
Oh, no.
And couldn't get out and drowned.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, just heart-wrenching, and he died, and it was just a tearjerker. So here's where I come in on the case. Well, in the state of Georgia, every adult that has a right to a case has to be notified. Well, the attorney on the case was trying to do the right thing and not notify the father in the case. But the father got word. They couldn't settle the case without the father knowing anyway. But the father got word through the...
What was the case? Are they trying to sue
They sued the apartment complex.
Right. Okay.
Because the apartment complex was told that the swimming pool was a hazard because in Georgia, especially in apartment complexes or anywhere that you're where that there's a lot of invitees, you have to have it has to be fenced in where that you just can't wander into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fence was all torn up and anybody could just wander in. And it was just a nuisance. And it had a shed there that was open that drug users would go and use drugs and pass out. And it was just drug dealers would go there and sell drugs. And it was just a nuisance. So the city and the county condemned the swimming pool area and told the apartment complex that they had to cover over the swimming pool and fill it in or fix it, put up new uh,
Fence.
fencing around it and put a new shed up and secure the shed within the confines of the law. Well, they didn't do it. They just left it there for, I think it was like 9 months after it had been ordered to be fixed, and had several warnings in that 9 months. The kid wandered out there and fell into the swimming pool in February, and it only had water in the deep end. But he couldn't get up. It was sloped. When it come out of the deep end, it sloped pretty steep, and he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get out because it was all slimy and stuff, and he couldn't get out, and he panicked, and panic set in, and of course he drowned, and he died in this swimming pool. And it did have tarps that had rotted on it and stuff, and it would have been hard for a grown man to get out of it if you would have seen the pictures of it. So his family hired a law firm and sued the apartment complex.
The husband did. The husband that they
No,
could.
the wife did.
Okay.
The wife that had fled
Okay.
the abusive husband.
Okay.
So the husband said, "Well, I want my share. That's my kid. I want my share of that money."
Oh God.
Well, the husband,
Now it's his kid.
now it's his kid.
Yeah.
So the law firm hired me.
Fucking people, man.
Oh,
Jesus.
you haven't heard the beginning of it, Vinnie.
Okay.
So the law firm hired me they filed a lawsuit to sue him, to countersue him, because he sued her, because
He sued her for his share of the money.
because they went off of the court order in Chicago saying that he wasn't the father, where he testified in court.
Yeah.
So they went off of that order in Chicago and presented it to the insurance company here, showing that he wasn't the father.
Okay. Because in the state of Georgia, all parents have to be notified. But since he testified in court that he wasn't the father and they had the papers, they just went through with the lawsuit. This idiot gets wind of it and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yes.
What a piece of work.
So he sued her.
Yeah.
So the law firm countersued, saying that you testified that you wasn't the father,
Yeah.
and here they hired me to serve him.
Mm.
Now this guy was less than trash.
Yeah.
So the first thing I done was went to the address provided out in East Point, and it was just the most disgusting, rundown place in the world. But lying right on the front porch, where that the mailbox had, they had the mailbox on the wall, where that the mailman walks up on the porch and puts it in.
Yeah.
Well, it had overfilled, and the mail had fell out of the mailbox.
Okay.
Well, his food stamps was there. He was getting food stamps.
So wait a minute. I thought this guy was in Chicago.
He moved down here to get his share
Oh, okay.
of this lawsuit that this woman had just won.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, he wanted his share of it. So this 7-figure lawsuit that this woman had just won was tied up in court. She couldn't get it because he wanted his half because he was the father. And
Yeah.
which if he would have been the legitimate father, he was entitled to have.
Of course.
So, because the kid was a minor.
Yeah.
So each parent would have been entitled to half. So I find out that this guy is a criminal. I've done a background search on him, and in Chicago, he had 5 warrants out for his arrest. One of them was for shooting at police officers,
Oh God.
which was a felony with a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
And they were all kinds of warrants out for him, for theft, for burglary. I know theft and burglary up in Chicago, they considered it 2 different things at the time. And for attempted murder on a police officer and everything. So you would think that the Fulton County would want to arrest him.
Yeah.
So I went to the food stamp office And I told the food stamp, I said, look, I took a stack of papers and I said, here is all of his criminal warrants. Because people with criminal warrants are not supposed to be able to apply and get food stamps and all this other stuff.
I didn't
Because
know. Okay.
you're not supposed to aid and abet. You're supposed to make it as rough on them as possible so that they get arrested and go to jail.
Right.
They said, we don't care. Leave my office or we're going to have you arrested.
Ugh.
That's what I was told.
Oh man, Georgia.
And he was getting all kinds of food stamps and welfare and everything. And they just said, we don't care, leave. You're going to, if you continue to impede our day, our government official business, we're going to have you arrested.
You're making our day harder and we don't want you to. Get out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I find him in a house down at East Point. And this house is on a street where it's got 4 streets, one on every side of the house. And every time I would knock on the front door, he would go out the second floor window in the back.
Yeah.
Every time. So I gathered up a couple of my police officer buddies and before I do that, I go to Fulton County and I tell Fulton County, I said, look, here's all the warrants out of Chicago for this guy. And I said, here's where he's getting food stamps. They just moved them from this place to this place. And man, this place, they had a dog. You had to go up these stairs, these rickety stairs. It was just dangerous. They had no electricity in this place. And the reason I knew that is because the power wire came across and it was cut and rolled up and it had a sign hanging on it. It said condemned.
Yeah.
So no power, building condemned.
Right.
So I knew they had no power. They had no running water and it just stunk, but they had a dog tied up out front. So anytime anybody approached, the dog would bark and they could head out the back window.
Yeah.
That's what the dog was for.
Right.
So I go to the Fulton County Sheriff's Department and I'm thinking, man, this one's easy. I'm just going to go have this son bitch arrested.
Yeah.
I'll serve him in jail. I've had it done before. This is easy. He's got 5 warrants and one of them is for attempted murder on a police officer. These police officers are going to love to arrest this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go down to Fulton County and I present all these warrants to them. They go, well, we don't know that you didn't make these warrants up, so we're going to have to check on them.
Oh, boy.
And this was like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So 5 o'clock rolls around, about 4 o'clock rolls around in the evening, and I call down there. Couldn't get anybody on the phone. So I call the next day. Couldn't get anybody on the phone. So about 3 days passed, and I finally get the person back on the phone. And they said, well, yeah, they're good warrants. But Chicago said they wasn't going to pay the extradite, and we're not going to pay the extradite. He's a free man. We're not going to arrest him.
Unbelievable.
Vinnie, I couldn't believe that their exact words was Chicago said he's 5 states away. Or they said Illinois said he's 5 states away. Keep him. We don't want him. They're not going to extradite. So we're not going to pay to have him extradited back up there. So they said he's a free man.
And this was years ago, you said?
This was in the very early 2000s, 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So all of this soft on crime shit hadn't even happened yet, and now they're
attempted murder on a police officer, and they just said, well, we don't. He's a free man. They're not going to pay for the extradition, and we're not paying for it.
See, this is what's wrong with people in these positions. They're just fucking clock watchers, man.
Well, you know what the issue was. Well, the city of Chicago had gotten rid of their criminal. Illinois had gotten rid of their criminal.
Right.
They didn't want him back up there.
Right.
That's just a drain on their tax dollar.
Yeah.
They've already got a problem on it.
Right.
His is just as him being in Atlanta, Georgia is just as good as him being in jail up there, or better than him being in jail up there because they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
Now the Atlanta, he's a drain on the Atlanta tax dollars. We're giving him food stamps and we're giving him a welfare check each month. We're the ones keeping him up now, not Illinois.
Right.
So,
Right.
so,
Unbelievable.
so I couldn't get him served. So I get a couple of my police officer buddies, and I have a gun that looks like an Uzi, and this was in about March of the following year after the kid died. March, about April. It's about April, and I have a strap that holds it right here, that holds that gun right here, and all you have to do is just pull it up. You just pull it up, and you can't extend your arm or anything. You just pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 2 or 3 different guns strapped on me because this was a drug house.
Mm-hmm.
And my police officer buddy had he had guns strapped everywhere, and he had his badge on him. I mean, we looked like commandos because first of all, we're getting ready to go into a drug house, and we go to the East Point Police Department, and I tell this nice woman police officer, I says, we're going to serve these papers, and we said every time we serve this, and this was a drug house. And I told her, I said, you see that house right there? We're standing at the police department. You can see the drug house. I said, it's just on the other side of the railroad tracks. I said, you see that drug house? I said, we're going over there to serve so-and-so over there. And I said, when we go over there, I said, he goes out the back window. I said, so my buddy is going to stand at the back window so he can't get away. And I said, we're both going to have copies. And I said, if he goes out the back window, he's going to serve him. And if he don't, I'm going to serve him. She goes, well, and I said, the reason we're telling you, I said, is because it's a drug house and we expect something to go down when he can't run.
Right.
I said, because every time he's always ran, and now we're going to station somebody at the back. And I said, he's a Georgia police officer. And I said, he's done this many times with the police department, and we know that he can't run. When he knows he can't run and he's cornered, we expect something to go down. And we both had bulletproof vests on and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we fully expect a gunfight.
Yeah.
So when I turned to walk away, I had a big old flannel shirt on, but it wasn't buttoned up. Just a big old flannel shirt on because it was April. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And when I go to turn away, when I turned, the wind caught my shirt and it blew my shirt open, and she could see this weapon and my side piece and everything. Yeah. And she went, whoa, wait a minute. She said, give me 10 minutes. We'll supply backup.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because I think what happened was she's seen at least 2 of my weapons. Yeah. I had my pistol on my side, and then I had my Uzi here just in case. It's a single shot. It's not a single shot Uzi. I have a 32 round clip in it, but you just can't hold the trigger down. It's a one shot, one pull.
Right.
But it has a lot of firepower, and the sight of it kind of scares people. That was the reason of taking it.
For sure. Yeah.
And so we get so she gets 4 police cars with 2 police officers in them each, and puts them on each street.
Nice.
So I go for the front door, and my buddy, we're going to call him CG. He goes to the back window, and as soon as I hit those front stairs, that dog starts barking, and the minute that dog starts barking, he heads to that back window, and my buddy in the back looks up, and there he stands at the back window.
Yeah.
And I didn't even you didn't have to knock on the door because the door didn't shut. It was just an old flimsy door. I pushed the door open, and there he stood at the back window.
Yeah.
And I go in with the papers in one hand and my hand on my gun on the other. Mm-hmm. Because I'm telling you, this is a drug house, and the police officer tells me, she goes, you know that's a drug house. I said, yeah, I know that's a drug house. That's why we're telling you what we're doing, because we don't expect this to be smooth.
Right.
We don't expect this to go down, because we expect him to act like a caged animal when he realizes he can't run. That's why we're telling you. Yeah. That's why we're asking you to help us. And she's going, we can't help you. And then when I turned and she's seen my weapon, she goes, wait a minute. Wait.
You're serious. You're serious.
Yeah. Since you're serious about this.
Yeah.
So when he started out that back window and he's seen the police everywhere, I guess he just decided he'd just better, they never got out of their cars. Yeah. They never exited the city streets. They stayed right on those 4 streets.
Yeah. Nice, easy day for them.
Exactly. And then when I pushed that door open and he's standing there and he looked around at me and he seen I got I got the papers in one hand and my hand on my pistol.
Yeah.
And I asked, I said, "Is this you?" And he said, "Yep." I just tossed them to him, and I said, "You've been served. Thank you."
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. They had a bucket in the corner that they were using the bathroom in,
Ugh.
and it stunk so bad.
How many people were in there?
3, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
It was him going out the back window, and there's one laying in the corner, and another person over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it just stunk. I mean, it just smelled like urine and crap, and
Yeah.
I mean, just nasty. No electricity, no nothing.
Ugh.
So we served him. He never answered the lawsuit. Well, I guess his attorney finally answered the lawsuit. And so we go to court. And guess what the judge did? Guess what the ruling was?
The ruling for him to receive part of the money?
Yep.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
You better say no. He better said no.
The judge gave him half the money.
Oh my God.
$3.7 million. The judge gave him half, but the judge was honorable.
Yeah.
He did make him pay her back the $47,000 in back child support.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Good. You say this was the early 2000s?
Yeah.
I guarantee you the fucker's in jail
or dead
and out of that money.
Oh, he's probably dead.
He's probably dead, in jail, but either way, guarantee you he's out of that money. He doesn't have that money anymore. Guys like that will go through that money just like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Vinnie.
But he had it on Easy Street for a year, I'd say, maybe a year, 2 years.
Oh, if that.
Yeah.
You know what? He probably didn't even have it on Easy Street that long.
Yeah.
Because I'd say that he committed a crime and was probably in prison. You know what? One of his buddies probably killed him and took it from him.
Yeah.
Because but here's the part that just really just warms my heart. And you know I'm being sarcastic when I say that. But the judge says, "Oh, you're going to get your half, but you have to pay her back her $47,000 in back child support."
Yeah.
You know he never seen the kid. He denied the kid at birth. Wouldn't have anything to do with the kid. Never sent the kid one birthday card. Nothing.
But wanted his $3.5 million.
Or wanted half of it.
Yeah.
Half of the 3.5. Yeah.
Oh, half of the 3.5 million.
Yeah.
What a scumbag.
No, the judge was the scumbag.
Yeah, the judge is a scumbag too.
The judge should have said, "Well, we can't get any DNA. The kid is passed. The kid is buried. The kid is gone. So therefore, we can't prove that it was your kid. And since you denied the kid in the divorce, wouldn't give blood, then the kid's not yours. You don't get a dime." That's what I would have said.
Yeah. Well, here's why that the fact that he got his half was probably the better thing, because he would have come after that woman.
Oh, the woman told us that she would be leaving the state of Georgia because that he was just going to continue to beat on her until she ran and hid again.
Yeah.
So she had to go hide again from him.
Yeah.
That's why she left Chicago, is because he was going to kill her. He was just a thug. He was a gang member.
Yeah.
He was just going to beat her. That's all he done was just beat on her, and that's why she left.
What a piece of trash.
And that's not hearsay. We actually had court transcripts and police reports where he was beating the living hell out of her on a daily basis. pictures of her face just beaten and swollen and everything.
Yeah.
And when he found out that she was pregnant, he about beat her to death. Yeah. That's and then his grandmother, who also lived here in Georgia, was the one who told him about the baby dying because she read about it in the news. And
you need to get your own money, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Wow.
But I don't. If I would have been a judge, here, I would have terminated his parental rights. I would have said, since you wouldn't pay, we're just going to terminate your parental rights. Now let's move forward with this hearing. Oh, your parental rights was terminated. You have no parental rights.
100%. That's exactly how I would have handled it.
Whatever.
No, you denied him. You've never paid child support. You denied him. You wouldn't give blood. Case dismissed. Out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever it took.
Yeah.
Whatever it took to keep him from getting a dime. But the judge thought he was doing the right thing by making him pay the back child support. You know what I call that? I call that insult.
Yeah.
That's an insult.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, I'll pay $47,000. I got 1.25. Well,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you got to pay taxes on.
No, you don't.
You don't pay taxes
if it's an injury or a death case. You do not pay taxes on it.
On a settlement.
On a settlement. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well.
Yep.
47,000. There you go. Bang.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Yep. If you ask the judge about it, I'd love for the judge to come on here and try to explain himself.
Oh yes, please.
But
why did you make that decision?
But I know what he's going to tell you. He was going to tell you that by law he had to because he was the birth father. But if it would have, I'm sure that there was other legal avenues that he could have took, like terminating. He could have said, "Well, I'm going to terminate your parental rights since you were an absent father.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go ahead and terminate your parental rights right now."
Yeah,
and then
there had to be a record of him beating on this woman.
There was. We had the records. We had the records where he done it in Chicago. He tried to kill her when she said, "I'm pregnant" in Chicago. They were married, and she said, "I'm pregnant." And he tried to kill her.
See, that's right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just depresses me to hear that there are people like this in this world.
Yeah.
You know, that this is who we share this is who we share the world with, man.
This is who we share the world with, Vinnie.
Unbelievable.
This is it's a sad state of affairs, but and then they were also he was getting our tax dollars through welfare, and when I showed him through welfare that he didn't deserve it, and showed him the laws that says that somebody in his wanted condition was unentitled.
With warrants. Yeah, with warrants.
They told me that I'd be arrested if I didn't leave.
Yeah, well, you were making their day difficult. They didn't want to.
Yeah.
Boy, people.
Yeah.
Clock watchers, man. Where's the pride in your job? You know, do a job well and help the common good. Unbelievable, buddy.
Well, help the common good. How about don't complain about how low your wages are and then not do anything when I give you the opportunity? Because, see, if you would stop paying all these people that didn't deserve it, then there would be more money in the coffers to give you a raise.
100%.
So I don't want to hear you complain that your salary's too low.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we'll give you a raise when you start doing your job.
Yeah. Do your job.
How's that?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
But I was shocked. I couldn't get any help from anybody. No, and then the East Point Police Department didn't want to help me either until they seen that we were serious, and I guess they tried to ask me not to serve the papers, but I was appointed by the courts to serve papers because down in the state of Georgia, it's in most states, you have to be appointed by the courts, and I'm appointed by all the local courts. And, what do you say to somebody? Well, you can't serve them. Police officers can't tell you that I can't go serve somebody.
Right. Right.
If a police officer says, well, you can't serve them, and then I go back and and give a judge an affidavit saying, well, the local police department said that I'd be arrested if I served them. Then what are they going to say? What's a judge going to say?
Right.
A judge is going to say, that's not going to fly.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to be arrested. Go serve them. I'll take care of the arrest portion.
There you go.
Yeah. So
fucking red tape.
Yeah. So
this was a fun one. This was a fun one, Lynn. I saw a part of me just loves these stories, and another part of me goes, "There's people like this in this world."
I deal with them every day, Vinnie. Every day.
I know.
Every day I deal with them.
Any update on the dead body, or you still?
No, I'm still working on that one. That one's going to be a while. I can't say a lot about it.
Right.
But you'll understand why later on. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah. But we'll still be going strong.
Yeah. It's we have to wait for a few things to happen. And once these things happen, it's kind of triggers for other things to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll explain all those triggers to you later.
All right.
You'll kind of appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
For those of you listening who did not hear last week's episode, Lynn informed us that he is working on a case where he's looking for a body, and that's all he can actually talk about right now. And I was just asking for an update.
Yeah, well, there's really no updates at this time. We have to wait. Matter of fact, probably another week, and I will know more after the end of this week.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens this week, and then I may know more and I may not. But we're waiting on one thing to happen, and once this one thing happens, then I can dig in full force, and then once we get a resolution for it, we'll talk about it. Once that thing's happen and the case is closed, we'll hit it running.
Okay.
Because this is a good one. This is one that everybody.
I'm excited about it, buddy. I'm excited. Listen, I love all of these, even though they give me they make me feel like crap, that there are people in this world that actually do these things, that will let stuff like this get. Like guys like this, oh sure, we don't care. Yeah, he's getting food stamps. Oh, he's living off of our tax dollars. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to mess with that paperwork.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And a judge gives him half of the settlement.
The judge gives him half of a settlement after he denied his son and refused a blood test, wouldn't pay child support, tried to kill the mother.
Yep. And shoots at police officers and attempted murder on a police officer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's probably dead or in jail.
I guarantee it. And I guarantee you, like I said before, he don't have that money no more. He's gone through that.
Oh, that money's way gone.
Way gone.
And somebody probably killed him for it.
Yeah. Yeah. He opened his mouth to one of his friends who he shouldn't have, and boom, he's dead.
I'll tell you, Vinny, I was working on a case. I was working on a workman's comp case, and we got the guy a nice big settlement. And in the meantime, he went to jail and got a very long jail sentence. And we had to put $88,000 on his jail commissary.
88,000.
Yeah, that's what he got on his workman's comp case. That was his take. It was an 88,000. We got him more than that, but
how many bags of potato chips did he need?
Well, the thing about it is that he was going to be in there so long, that he just wanted it all put on his commissary. Because he was afraid to give the money to his girlfriend because he was afraid that by the time he got out, she would spend it.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't give it to his mother. So he just wanted to put it on his jail commissary. And that's the second time that I've put money on somebody's jail commissary. And that's not the largest amount.
Really?
Yeah, but you can only put $2,000 at a time on a prison commissary, and so man, it takes me a long time to go. Here's
I
two.
think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, did he get out? Did he get to have any of that money?
Well, I don't know if he spent it all. Probably not. I think he got like 16 years in jail, 16 years in prison. So
Yes. Come on, boys, cigarettes for everybody. I got you.
yeah, no, he went in and kept quiet. He didn't want anybody to
Yeah,
know
I
what was
know.
going on.
I'm just
So he was going to try to save some. He told me he was going to try to save some for when he got out. So
yeah.
and another guy got.
Remember what he did? Remember what he did to go to jail?
He never would tell me.
Oh, okay.
He never would tell me. I didn't work on that case. I just worked on his comp case. And
Okay.
there was another guy that we were working on a car accident case for. He took home $144,000, but by the time we got his case settled, he had committed like 5 or 6 felonies in 5 or 6 different counties, and he got 20 years in one county, and he got like 10 years in another county, and he was going to have to do them. Once he got done in one county, they wasn't going to let him run consecutively, and he had 2 more counties he was going to be tried in.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I didn't put it on his commissary, but he wanted all that put on his commissary, and the law firm was putting that on his commissary because he knew he was going to be in there at least 30 years, and his attorneys were going to try to get the other 2 counties to run them consecutively, so that 30 years was going to be the most he would do.
What a waste of having all that money.
What a waste!
Yeah.
And that money's not going to last him in there. He's going to try to buy his freedom. He's going to try to buy protection to keep from being raped. He's going to try to buy this and buy that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is it really worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm telling you that they were both hurt very badly. The workman's comp guy was, he was hurt really badly. I mean, his legs were, they didn't think he was ever going to walk again.
Right.
And so, it's
that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, Vinnie, listen, I got one more I'll tell you. We was working on this guy's case. He got hit by a tractor and trailer, and the tractor and trailer ran.
Was he in a car?
He was in his pickup truck, and when it hit him, it flipped him upside down over a guardrail, and the tractor and trailer ran. But another tractor and trailer stayed that had a video camera in it. Well, the guy tried to say he didn't run. Well, we got the guy. We was going to collect him almost $1 million on the case. Well, in the meantime, the guy went into business for himself, making crystal meth.
Oh boy!
And he got caught.
Yeah.
Well, when he got caught making crystal meth, we couldn't get him the $1 million.
Right.
Because we didn't have time. Because if the insurance company would have found out that he was in jail, they would have forced us into court. And they would have started digging into his past and everything, and this would have harmed his case.
Yeah.
So we just had to hurry up and negotiate him a settlement. So he probably lost about $400,000. We only got him like $350,000. So
Right.
he probably lost about $300,000 to $400,000 if he would have but making crystal meth.
Yeah.
He had all this. Yeah. This was going to be a hit and run and a tractor and trailer. This was going to be a punitive damage case.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were going to get close to $1 million in the case.
Yeah.
And the guy goes and starts making crystal meth.
Dude couldn't have worked at McDonald's for a couple of months and just waited it out.
McDonald's,
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
I'm getting $1 million, man. I'll do this 8-hour shift here. Yeah.
Now, what's that good that money going to do him?
Yeah.
Now he's in jail, and I'm telling how much time he's going to get because he's a convicted felon making crystal meth. So he's not going to, and he was in prison for drugs when he got out the first time. He'd only been out several months.
Yeah.
So he's not going to. I mean, so this is his second offense.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in there for a long time.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah. Stupid.
Idiot. It looks like after being in prison and being locked up and getting a second chance at freedom, why would you want to go back?
Yeah, buddy. I told you in a previous episode. I said I picked up a girl I was dating from jail once. I was just looking around, going, "Man, I'm never coming here.
Yeah.
I'm never coming here.
Yep.
I'm gonna toe the line."
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. It just don't make sense, does it, Vinny?
No, it doesn't.
No, it makes sense.
Very interesting show this week, Lynn. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you being here. Let me remind you one more time. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. We love that you listen. We hope you keep listening. But if you subscribe, that'll really help our visibility. We would appreciate it. Thank you, Simple Funding, for sponsoring this episode. If you like stand-up comedy and goofball videos, check me out online. I got a bunch of those. You can go to my website and find all my social media links, Vinnie.com, www.vinnie.com. As I say every week, Lynn Lambdin is the best private investigator. If you need someone found, if you need served papers, if you need someone surveilled, if you need his services, contact Lynn Lambdin at
www.lwias.com. Once again, that is lwias.com. And just mention you heard us on the show, and we'll figure out how to give you a discount.
There you go. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next week.